Daily life is about how artist is using the everyday material and everyday scene to reveal their mental landscape. We have included 5 artists, both local and from China, to talk about how objects and things are related to our lives and how we're represented through these objects. This is probably the first time the Asian American artists get to show or exhibit it in this space collectively. So my instinct was we also need to showcase what is relevant and diverse about this vibrant Asian American art community.
The exhibit that I chose to install is called Discards and Variances, and the discards actually refers to discarded humans. A big issue for me as an artist is to talk about human trafficking, which is alive and well. What I've done though is taken unexpected materials to engage people, and then hopefully they learn a little bit about by just looking at the work.
I think today when we're seeing and talking about immigrants, there are still a lot of unresolved issues. But even just looking back at history, a lot of people in many ways don't want to look back because it was so painful. But I think for Cynthia, she's been very brave and not only dig into that history, but really go into the dark side.
When I was doing this, I realized that my father, my mother, and my grandmother were all victims of human trafficking as well. I made a pillow actually for my father here, and this is his passport when he came in the United States. The people that brought him in were Chinese Americans, and they went and bought him because boys were a big commodity back in, this was 1922, so it wasn't that long ago.
I think that a lot of times how we look at history is really how we look at ourselves as a human being. And it's a constant struggle of what you're hoping to look ahead for and what you're trying to reflect from the past.
It was kind of an interesting exercise working with these pillows because it's kind of a sweet thing to sit and sew them, but it was kind of heartbreaking at the same time to do this work.
Iman Ye is an artist based in San Francisco. This particular theme is that she used the kind of packaging materials usually used as a lining for lots of Chinese gift boxes to actually outwardly packaging them with the everyday discarded objects. These objects become sort of part of the waste, but she repackaged them with her signature prints and then making them into a statement and also a kind of a miniature sculpture. This is her work about authenticity and also the idea of import. Many of these objects I immediately recognize, but then at the same time, I no longer see them as objects. I see them as a piece of artwork and sculpture. Sita Baumig's piece, Close to Home, is really building this piece on smell. She has some very interesting title about the smell, and every time when you take them and then smell it, you go through this kind of transition in your mind that what does this remind you of and how is it connected to the title. There's an immediate image in my mind that I probably could not articulate with words. It gives a very abstract idea, a very concrete sort of description, and you internalize it, and then you feel like that is connecting to some part of you, whether it's a memory, or it was an experience, or it was a kind of anticipation. Liu Xianbiao's piece, Road, he is the only artist that is not in the Bay Area, but I feel like his work is very important, sort of like connecting us from the local to the global. His work is about structuring the video pieces that over the years that he has collected in the China's rural landscape. And as China growing so rapidly in an economic way, I think that we are becoming increasingly aware of what has got left out, which is the urbanization forcing the migrant workers leaving their home, looking for opportunities in the city, but at the same time, the entire rural area feels like being abandoned, being left out. And his video is about revealing that world.
My idea is, I think is we maybe have to question lifestyle is good or not. And that's maybe, for me, I feel scary sometimes because I use a lot of stuff, then I throw a lot. Then I feel I waste a lot, but at the same time, I hope I have more. We need to pursue life is get better and better, but in the same time, the trouble get more and more. The cupboard is, for me, I feel very familiar because I like the natural color that come from paper. I'm working for paper a long time because I'm a painter. For me, then materials for me is very important because they're so simple. But in the simple, you find something is very complex. But every box for me have so much different stories. I think that art is the main function is for give other people something to connection their life. It's not about your own story.
Daily life is going on everywhere. Although we are in the Western sphere, we're inside of a kind of metropolitan area, but I feel like when the work is done right, you can still get connected and relate to a life that could be remotely different from yours.